In serious stuff, Iran attacking a Singapore-flagged cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. This was predictable. This happened yesterday, testing the recent memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Tehran.
Meanwhile, the commander-in-chief says that the administration is negotiating with Iran from a position of pure strength.
Madeline Rivera is live in Washington with the details for us. Hey, Maddie.
Hi, good morning. A UN agency says it temporarily paused evacuations until the safety of ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz can be guaranteed. U.S. officials say one IRGC drone hit a Singapore-flagged cargo ship called Ever Lovely as it was exiting the Strait of Hormuz off the Omani coast on Thursday. The strike did damage the ship's bridge, but thankfully there were no casualties. The UN's International Maritime Organization says the ship did not travel under the evacuation framework it established, and the IRGC Navy has warned any ship passing through a new shipping route without Iran's coordination is unacceptable and dangerous. The Persian Gulf Strait Authority says any passage through routes outside the framework designated by PGSA will not be covered by safe passage guarantees and will not be entitled to insurance coverage or related liabilities. The consequences arising from passage through unauthorized routes shall be the responsibility of the owner, operator, and vessel commander. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Iran will be judged not by its rhetoric, but by whether ships are actually moving through the strait. He says if they're not transiting, that would be a violation of its agreement with the U.S. Still, the president remains confident in the deal.
We're negotiating from a position of pure strength, pure strength. They know that. And the strait's already open, and we're setting records of the strait. But we had to do that. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
The president also says unfrozen Iranian funds will soon be used to buy American agricultural goods like wheat, soybeans, and corn. Iran says that claim is false, but the U.S. has maintained what Iran is signaling publicly is different from what it's doing behind closed doors. Lawrence Ainsley and Ryan.
Thanks, Manny.
All right, thanks, man.
First off, you can't say it's the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal's fault. They are setting up a toll system. They are beginning to make ships buy Iranian insurance. They're setting up fees, and Oman, who was allegedly an ally, is part of this with Iran. So I'm not sure, is the vice president and Witkoff, are they telling the president this? Because it's really important everybody be on the same page, because they're seeing how far they can push us in order to do their own thing. And yesterday's drone activity telling ships, international ships, where to go is a huge problem. And I just hope people are being candid. Also, I was on with Ambassador Dennis Ross yesterday, who was in Israel, and the word is the Gulf states might be setting up a conference with Iran about how to set up a brand new relationship and turn over a new leaf. Well, that's interesting. Without us involved, after the Secretary of State was just there, is that going to emerge? Are they doing a deal behind our backs because they feel as though we can't protect them? This is a vital time right now.
Well, that was always the risk when we decided that we were going to get the deal. And Ainsley, I've expressed my frustration with the deal, but I think ultimately this is not going to get across the finish line because Iran is going to be Iran. And I don't see this making it 60 days. Everything that we thought was going to be a disaster when it came to them, when they pretended to be actors of good faith with this negotiation, they're doing the exact opposite. And it's only a matter of time before the drones become actually firing on the ships. And I know the president, he's going to respond. And that's where we're going to end.
Yep, the drone did cause damage to the bridge of the boat. It's a Singapore-flagged cargo ship. And this is directly testing that 60-day agreement that we have with Iran. It was designed to pause hostility, which clearly hasn't happened. And it was designed to reopen the strait. And now you have the Persian Gulf Strait Authority stating on social media that ships traveling on unauthorized routes carry their own consequences and will not be guaranteed safe passage. Why are they determining what route is authorized? These are international waters.
Great question.
I just think that, and we said this from the very beginning, it's no secret. The Iranians don't have a military like we did. We destroyed that aspect of it. So everything that they're going to do is going to be involved in the strait. When we made it very clear to them that the gas prices would be the one thing that we would use to put pressure on the president to get a deal, then they're going to leverage that now. So I just think it was a major mistake, whether it was the media or the politicians, that never made the case to the American people. This is a matter of national security. Don't let them use the gas prices as a way to message you against the president on this.
And Brent crude went up yesterday 2% as a result of this.
Right. They say that they're setting up the Iranians are taking over the Strait of Hormuz within 60 days. They're setting up the infrastructure now. They're going and talking about different prices, talking to different different countries with their own waterways in order to set it up. We can continue to ignore it and say they're not allowed. You know, Marco Rubio said they're not allowed, and the vice president said, of course, they're not going to do that. And Iran says they are doing it. We are going to do that. I don't know what you're talking about. It's even in the memorandum of understanding that they're going to set up some type of Oman-Iran authority.
A fee, yeah.
So you got to be able to further define this. You got to put that line in the sand.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.